Hello everyone! Today we have a very hot new release in the operating room, the Realme 16 Pro Plus. The smartphone was announced very recently, on January 6, 2026. In the European market, it's priced at around €425. The previous lineup topped the sales charts in Eastern Europe and the Polish market. And everyone expects this Pro Plus model to deliver flagship level performance at half the price. But when I tried to really study its specs in detail and used it for a couple of days, I had one main question: what's the catch? After all, there are no miracles in mobile marketing. Today, we're going to break down this device without any advertising fluff. I'll tell you where Realme worked wonders and where they blatantly cut corners on you and made you overlook the specs. So let's get started. And we'll start with the box. It's gray, minimalist, with a large number 16 on it. There's also Pro Plus, an AI badge, 5G, and Realme here. But that's all on the front side. On the back, there's a proud inscription, 200 megapixels, along with various other information. We can also find here that it says there's no charging brick included. So let's open up the lid. And what can we find inside? Of course, we had the phone itself here, as well as various papers, a SIM card ejector pin, and that seems to be it. But what's interesting, what surprised me about this smartphone? It's already the year 2026. Almost every device now charges via a Type-C to Type-C cable, but Realme makes its own choice. And what we can notice here is USB-A to USB-C. Yes, it's thick, yes, it's bulky, but why USB-A? Why this step back to the past in a premium lineup? Plus, with USB-A, you have to buy a power adapter with USB-A. And to me, that's just totally cringe. But the phone itself comes in gold and gray colors. On the back, it can be either plastic or eco leather. Mine is eco leather, and it feels very pleasant to the touch. I like it. It looks expensive, weighs a solid 198 grams. The frame is aluminum, and the device feels monolithic in the hand and sits very comfortably, as you can notice. A huge plus is the full IP68 and IP69K protection. It's not just unafraid of rain, you can even wash it under the tap, though we won't be testing that. Let's turn on our device, and here we have a huge 6.8-inch AMOLED display with a refresh rate of as much as 144 Hz. The resolution is non-standard, 1280 by 2800 pixels. The screen is protected by Gorilla Glass 7i. The picture is incredibly vibrant and the smoothness is perfect. The specs claim an insane peak brightness of 6500 nits. But let's not kid ourselves. In normal mode, you get 600 nits under bright sunlight. The automatic mode squeezes out about 1800 nits. That's an excellent figure. The screen is perfectly visible, but the 6500 number is a local peak point when watching HDR, not the constant brightness. Just a typical marketing trick. Let's take a look under the hood and at the heart of this device. Performance is handled by the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 with Adreno 722 graphics. They didn't skimp on memory. Fast RAM, here comes the word, LPDDR5X with 8 GB and built-in storage of either 256 or 512 GB. However, the storage itself is the standard UFS 3.1. It's fast, but by 2026, UFS 4.0 is already widely used in flagships. Still, for €425, it's hard to complain. In AnTuTu version 11, the phone scores about 1,400,000 points is the level of a solid super flagship. But how does it perform in games and in everyday use? PUBG Mobile runs perfectly at maximum graphics settings. A stable 60 or even 90 frames per second, no drops, no stuttering during intense moments. The controls are responsive. The smartphone is barely warm. And for example, Genshin Impact. Here, it's a real stress test. You can play on high settings, but after 20 to 30 minutes of active gaming, the screen starts to flicker slightly. The processor starts to throttle due to heating, and if you want perfect gaming, you'll have to lower the settings to medium. It's a good chip, but it's still far from the flagship Snapdragon 8 series. We've reached the point where Realme has simply destroyed all its competitors. The body is only 8.5 millimeters thick, yet they managed to fit a silicon carbide battery with a capacity of 7,000 milliamp hours inside. Friends, this phone lasts an indecently long time. In active use mode, it delivers more than 18 hours of screen time. 2 days of heavy use without recharging is its standard. The package includes 80-watt ultra-charge fast charging, which you can notice in the corner, and it charges this monster to 100% in just over an hour. There's even a bypass charging function. When you're gaming, the current goes directly to the processor, bypassing the battery, so the phone heats up less. For battery life, it's simply 10 out of 10. And now let's move on to the cameras. And here we've got quite a mix. The main module is a crazy 200 megapixels with optical stabilization. There's a periscope telephoto lens with 50 megapixels, 3.5 times optical zoom, and also with OIS. But the ultra-wide is only 8 megapixels and doesn't have autofocus. Honestly, that's a bit strange. They skimped on a proper ultra-wide in the Pro Plus phone. But let's take a look at the software itself. They've added a ton of interesting features. In photo mode, there's an AI lighting effect, an AI master cropping feature that automatically crops the frame according to the rule of thirds, and AI motion capture to photograph running children or animals without blur. The color profiles are standard for Realme. The vibrant one is very punchy and the natural one is more subdued. The zoom works in a range from the ultra-wide 0.6 times all the way up to a crazy digital 120 times. There's macro photography and a mood mode. And in the portrait section, there are now ready-made focal length presets such as street, classic, headshot, and close-up. For landscape lovers, there's an AI mode with haze removal. And of course, there's a high-resolution mode with 200 megapixels for maximum detail during the day. So what about video here? Everything is solid here. There's an ultra-stable mode thanks to the combination of OIS and EIS. HDR format is supported. You can shoot in 720p, 1080p, and true 4K at 30 or 60 frames per second, both on the main camera and on the 50 megapixel front camera. After the lower end models, where 4K was restricted, here everything is just right for bloggers and mobile creators. Well, since we're praising it a bit, there's also an AI logo proudly displayed on the box. And why don't we talk about the artificial intelligence features? Let's just go into the settings and take a detailed look at what Realme UI 7.0 has to offer. And the first thing is the AI Writer, a tool that turns your scattered thoughts into structured text. It's useful if you need to quickly write a social media post or a business reply. Second is AI-powered translation, a built-in translator for real-time communication in different languages. Third is the AI camera. These are the very algorithms that enhance textures, remove haze from landscapes, and improve faces. Fourth is the AI Game Master. The software allocates processor resources to deliver stable FPS in games and block notifications. Fifth is the AI Smart Loop. It allows you to drag and drop text or images between apps on the screen with a single tap, providing fast cross-platform access. Here we can also notice the service module Artificial Intelligence for updating algorithms, live notifications, which are similar to Apple's Dynamic Island, and a function to draw a circle for search. Overall, artificial intelligence here isn't just for show. The features are fully functional and applicable in real life. I'd like to add a point of my own, which is often forgotten. This device has full-fledged stereo speakers. The sound is loud and spacious, and the test shows a solid minus 26.3 LUFS. Watching movies is a real pleasure, but keep in mind there is no 3.5mm headphone jack here. And the vibration motor here is also good. In terms of quality, Haptics, the tactile engine, is excellent. The feedback when typing is pleasant. Not a cheap buzzing, but crisp, flagship level clicks. So, is there a catch with this device? And yes, of course there is. And it's a hidden compromise. Let's break everything down and start with the drawbacks. First, there's the outdated USB-A to USB-C cable included in the box for 425 euros. A weak ultra-wide angle module with only 8 megapixels. An old type of built-in memory, UFS 3.1, and no support for memory cards. Fourth, the processor starts trolling and dropping frames under load in Genshin Impact. But if we talk about the advantages of the device, there's the incredible 7000 mAh battery. The phone is literally immortal. Second, there's a stunning AMOLED display with a 144Hz refresh rate and Gorilla Glass 7i top-level water resistance with IP68 and IP69K ratings, a high-quality main camera with 200 megapixels, a full-fledged 3.5 times periscope with OIS, and support for 4K video recording at 60 FPS. And if we compare the pros and cons, who is this device suitable for? This is the perfect phone for travelers, mobile photographers, and people who are always on the move. If battery life is critically important to you, as you've heard, it's perfect here, but at the same time, you want a great zoom, water resistance, and a top-tier display, this smartphone is worth every bit of its 425 euros. But would I buy it for myself? If I needed a reliable work tool that wouldn't die by evening from using navigation and shooting, if I often, drove a car and didn't have the chance to recharge, maybe I would get it. As a second work phone? I think yes, I would buy it for myself. Realme saved money here on the ultra-wide camera and the type of memory, but invested in the battery and the main camera module. And, as I already said, if I took it as a work phone, as a second phone, I think it would suit me. And the catch is that Realme invested in the battery and the main camera module. As a second phone, which I've mentioned many times, it's perfect, but for many users, it will turn out to be not significant at all. So, what do you think about the Realme 16 Pro Plus? Would you consider buying it? Or does the USB-A cable in the box completely put you off? Share your opinion in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and hit the like button. See you next time. Bye.